Hello, my name is Jesvir Mahil and I started teaching in 1982, around 35 years ago. Over the past 3 decades, I've naturally evolved and transformed as a teacher by adapting to social, environmental and technological changes, but in many ways I've remained the same. For example, I still believe in the power of stories to create deep, meaningful teaching and learning. Now, stories have been used since time immemorial, so in this session, I'd like to share a few insights from my own teaching story to highlight that it's not the tools that are important, but the stories that these tools allow us to create to stimulate learning, which is deep, meaningful, and useful. In 1982, my teaching tools were coloured chalk. I used to have a box of coloured chalk and a pair of scissors and old magazines like this that I could cut out pictures from to make my lessons more stimulating and interesting. The phrase copy and paste didn't exist in those days in 1982. There was no copy and paste, so I used to spend hours and hours cutting pictures from old magazines and making sure that my lessons were colourful and full of interesting, stimulating pictures. Back in the 80s, Google, YouTube, Facebook and Twitter didn't exist. Compared with the chalk and talk days of the 80s, now there's an abundance of tools we can use to make teaching and learning fun, meaningful and useful. You could even argue that we're spoilt for choice, and the hardest thing is deciding which tools to use out of the overwhelming number of tools available. In 1982, I couldn't enter my class without a box of chalk, and now I can't enter my class without my USB. Back in 1982, I couldn't enter my class without old magazines to cut out pictures from, and now I hardly ever start a lesson plan without referring to the internet for some interesting content. To avoid feeling overwhelmed, I usually begin with a simple search strategy using sites such as Google, YouTube or TED Talks as a point of inspiration that will give me good ideas for stories containing knowledge and information likely to be relevant, useful and inspiring for my students. I find Google to be a very efficient way of tracking which apps and teaching tools are the most popular, and these can change year on year. For example, I thought that apps such as Kahoot and Padlet were the most common, and then I discovered a website reviewing 90 most common teaching apps. I was pleased to see that many of my top favourites are listed in this top 90 review. For example, apps to create games and quizzes, apps to create ebooks, and my current favourite, lots of apps to create videos. Creating videos for teaching and creating videos for learning is an excellent way, in my opinion, of telling stories that make learning fun, deeply meaningful and useful in tracking the progress of each student. Creating videos can also stimulate creativity and allow the teacher and the student to work at their own pace by stopping and starting the video and replaying the message when they need to. I started this session by saying I wanted to share some insights from my teaching story spanning 35 years. Although I use a USB instead of chalk and the internet instead of paper magazines, I still believe that teaching is an art rather than a science. The creative experience leading to transformation with a positive impact in our lives is complex and personal, and it requires trust so that we can step outside our comfort zones as teachers and also as students and face the associated risks with courage and confidence. In my professional opinion, training students to create their own educational videos on mobile devices is a great strategy for developing their courage and their confidence to document their own learning journey through stories within a context of trust and support. So how about you? What's your story? Use your mobile phone to make a 2-minute video answering one of the following questions. In your teaching or learning experience, what are the most important benefits in using apps to create videos? How do you avoid or overcome internet risks to security, well-being, and privacy? Send me the link to your videos in the comment box below, and I look forward to watching them and replying to or responding to your stories of either teaching or learning. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye for now.